Okay, you can tell it's the end of the expansion. You start seeing some wacky stuff. In this footage I'm going to show you now, pay attention to the tank. He is going to be the focus of this run for a few reasons. Here's the first pull of the dungeon. We actually do not fight the middle trash. I don't know that I've seen that done in a long time. On that pack, you see though that he did 94k HPS. Actually lost to the druid there. Come on, bro. We got a reputation to uphold. Try to watch his health bar on this pack. It's again the far left one here. He's basically just trying out the tank changes before they come, right? The tank changes are supposed to make the healer have to heal you more. This is probably not what Blood DK is ever actually going to look like, but yeah, he's giving them a taste of what it might eventually look like if Blizzard accomplishes their goals. Here's a funny thing we got. I think they're all trying to posture to go left, and these mons just get pulled. The enhancement shaman just starts going and fighting them without the tank actually having them. This causes a little bit of confusion. I don't know who actually grips that or why, but we do grip the whelp, and then the cast just gets off. So now we've aggroed everything in this hallway. You know, I guess in lieu of doing the first hallway, the first room the same way, this might work. This way seems way more hectic. Just look at his health bar. I mean, how is he alive? Am I lost on what these health bars look like? When it's light blue like that, it means he has like almost no health, right? The Unholy Death Knight says, I can't see shit, laugh Maffeo. The shaman then, who just walked up into mobs and started attacking them without the tank having threat, said, that hurt, lol. So they make the assumption here, based on the way the key has gone so far, that he is a newer tank, and that would definitely be one way to describe it. It appears to be an 8. It's hard to actually, I think it's an 8. So it's an 8 Azure Vault, Fortified Volcanic Azure Vault. So yeah, I mean, whatever, new people in these keys all the time. Doing Laymore now. This is a fight that does do a lot of damage, and again, as we can see, just getting massacred. Does he actually die there? These bars are freaking me out, dude. Is he constantly at like 5% health? I'm so confused. It looks like he's just constantly at 0% health, but there's no way that's possible. All I know is he's definitely not going to live through this. Watch. So he's just standing in the swirl and literally doesn't even try to move out of the swirl, and now that is his actual death. We're going to battle res him though and continue. Barely living. Everybody else is kind of getting hit probably from melees here, but you know, the tank is back up. Here's a wild job with the frontal. Watch this here. This is just going to miss everything. It actually hits one of them, I think, but he basically moves it so he doesn't hit any. He actually had it in a position to hit a few, and then he moved it so it hit only one. Here's a kind of like a little bit of physical humor, right? Watch this. This blob that we didn't pull gets aggroed. He grips it and then just like has his back to it for like 5 seconds, and then like turns around. He's like, oh, there's the blob. What happened? That's really weird. So again, they're talking about it. He says, good Lord, that was stressful. The other DK says, yeah, this tank is squishy as fuck. He says, I'm not the best group picker. Walking down the stairs right now, there's this character and the whelps are in front of him. So here we go. Vamp blood. Good. Very good use of that. Excellent use of that. All right, here it comes though, for real. He says, wait, bro. He's dual wield blood. The response to that is, whoa, like, no, you don't seem to understand here. He says, tank, why are you dual wielding? The tank responds, fail. I don't change weapon in stone, he says. Let's take a little pause here because I want to show you guys something here, okay, before we continue. Here is a one-handed weapon on, right? Here's my normal legendary on, okay? I have some one-handed weapons in my inventory here. I'm going to show you what it looks like to have a one-handed weapon on in combat, okay? You'll see all the spells, everything is still working as expected. I'm able to use that one-handed weapon to do full rotation. It's not like some specs in the past where you can't use like half your spells or something like that. I can basically use everything. To my knowledge, there's nothing that I can't use with a one-handed weapon on. It's just going to be way weaker than a two-handed weapon because it's going to have way less stats. It's going to have half the stats. Now here I have a second one-handed weapon. This is what happens when I try to dual wield a second one-handed weapon. I'm going to put it in this slot here and pay attention to what shows up on the screen. Equipping this item will bind it to you. You cannot dual wield. It says it right on the character. So at this point, you might be confused what's actually happening in the run here, but let's take a look at what actually happened. The guy is a Frost Death Knight normally. All right, you can go to his Radar.io page and see that. So he has 2 weapons equipped, okay? Since I cannot actually dual wield his blood, this is what happens. We're going to go to the talent page. We're going to switch over to blood, and then the mistake he claims he made was he forgot to switch his weapons. So he switches to blood and doesn't switch his weapons, and this is what the character pane looks like from his end. This second weapon is red. It does not work, okay? So he effectively is not dual wielding, and you can actually see that when you look at the screen on his character model, because you're gonna see only the one weapon in his hand, just like this. So even though the second one appears, and if somebody actually inspected him, you would see it on the character sheet, it is not actually showing up in game, and it is not usable in game. Okay, I just wanted to make sure that everything was perfectly clear on this before we continue. Guy says, I have a feeling this is going to be a lever key. He's continuing to apologize for inviting him. Sorry, pickings were slim. They're continuing to talk about the situation. I think as long as he pulls small, he'll be all right. Here we go with the ice cutter. Boom. Almost one shots him. Straight up, almost one shots him. They both react to this. He goes, lol. Omega freight trained there. That's the description of how much damage he took. Very well articulated. Now we're going to pull the boss. We still have the entire room of trash up. This is a strategy I haven't seen done a lot. Here comes the first tank mechanic. Let's watch the health bar here. 3, 2, 1. Oh, wow. I just can't really tell, dude, but I'm pretty sure he's almost being one shot like every global. This is something. Have a look at his character right now. He's trying to like attack the ad, but I'm not even sure he's in range. He's just getting hit by like pretty much every mechanic. There comes the orb to the face. Just kind of standing there, walking into the mechanic. You see him just walk into the mechanic there. Then we have stuff like this happening. This probably happens a lot more than it should really on fights, but the tank, you know, there's a frontal. Obviously, you need to face this away. He's gonna like kind of wildly turn it like 90 degrees and just like one shots the Death Knight. And then the funny part about this is, and this is pugging here in a nutshell, it was like clearly the tank clearly turned this to him and he just didn't see it. He says, I wasn't even touched. I was on the inside. What the hell? Oh, arcane cleave by boss. WTF. So boss is gonna die. No real issue. I mean, that guy's probably been hit by like every single mechanic on the fight multiple times, but now the fight's over. So you see him in the middle of the screen. He's kind of standing right in the dead center there. Just kind of walking around, just, you know, playing the role. This is a pretty important role, especially in a time dungeon, because you got to be fast. You got to push the key forward. You got to make sure you're leading the group here. The guy says plus percentage question mark, meaning like, do we need count? So we need to fight this trash. He's going to like fight just the 3 of them over here. Obviously, we see the guy's been struggling anyway, but again, he's actually going to, this time he's going to get rooted. I guess nobody kicks it. We have all of our interrupts up and nobody, like not one is even used. So that just double roots 2 people and both of those people die. So the tank said at this point he has to run back. The unholy Death Knight says the tank didn't take the portal, meaning like I guess he's running the whole way. Okay, he's finally back. 10:50. So it took him 2 full minutes to get back. No commentary on any of that too, by the way. I assume this guy doesn't speak or understand English very well based on the communication that's happening here. Again, they're talking about this whole situation. They said, I haven't done keys in 3 months and he's rolling dual wield. Yuck. Frost weapon enchants too. Time for the 3rd fight. This fight, you know, it's strategically a little bit of a challenge for people, I think, especially if we do something like this. We have 2 different camps right now. We have like a ranged camp and a melee camp. The frost kind of right on top of where you need to soak. You see how big of a mistake that was? That's a huge error. It honestly kind of perpetuated by the tank, right? Because now there's almost nowhere to stand. They have to stand like right on a dime. Barely don't get hit by volcanic there. That could have been a wipe to that one mistake right there. They somehow get through it. Everybody stacks perfectly on that. Now we're kind of tanking in the middle of both puddles. This is really bad strategy. He's gonna have to run. Well, he doesn't have to, but he chooses to run through the puddle, just kind of jumping. That doesn't help you. The tank's not the only one who chooses to do that, though. The unholy Death Knight also chooses to do that. You don't survive that. I'm gonna let you know that right now. These puddles do a ton of damage. Even as a tank, running through them is incredibly dangerous. So they're kind of talking about the fact that the tank is not really up to par, and yeah, he's making some strange choices, and like tanking him in that position was obviously bad. But the guy is complaining, and he literally just suicided. He just ran through ice. Like, you're never gonna survive that. That has nothing to do with the tank. He says it's mind-boggling, and the healer says, I know, let's just get this over with. Boss going like relatively well. I mean, they're killing the crystals. Here comes the tank. Pay attention to the health bar again. Still not sure what's going on with like the color gradient, but as you see, it's about to do the tank mechanic and then splat. Okay, so they are now, I guess they don't have a battle res. They're gonna try to like kite it out basically. The boss at 8%. He does a lot of non-melee, so it's probably gonna be pretty good to do this. I would just say whoever has threat should just pretty much just run. That guy does have threat though. Yeah, his actual tank mechanic is like ranged, but they are ultimately gonna res the blood decay. He's gonna get threat back, and they are gonna finish the run. The guy, the mage, you can barely see it, but the mage says, dude, I don't want to be mean, but you have a serious aggro issue. He says also routing. It's some serious feedback for you to look upon or something like that. The shaman even says, I have no clue why they like me. I believe this is in response to this part here. As we see, like, again, they're trying to like kite it out and survive it. The shaman, he's the guy over here in the corner. He's the one like backpedaling. He gets hit by the thing and then dies, right? At this point, he says, ow, in all caps. He said that probably like 10 times throughout the run as well. I hate people who do that. He says, I'm not a tank, lol. And then right after that gets said, the mage says, you have a serious aggro issue. But I feel like this key is like really endemic of what pugging is. Like, how many comments were there throughout the run that were just honestly, they have no idea what they're talking about, but they're still kind of like amorphously blaming things that they believe they understand. Like, let's be very frank about this, okay? You cannot dual wield. Right? If you could dual wield, it would be viable. Like, why do you think it would not be viable? I really don't understand this. Like, I guess there's an assumption that they can't use their spells, but yeah, if you have a one-handed weapon on, you can use your spells. You can't physically dual wield. The spec doesn't allow it, but if they could, they would have the same amount of stats as a two-handed, right? Like, there's not any actual difference there. This guy has bigger problems than him being a dual wielding spec, okay? He's obviously new to the spec. I think he's obviously new to the game. He doesn't seem to have any idea what he's doing at times in some of these fights, and at least, you know, the commentary wasn't made during the key. You know, I feel like the comments made privately are different. A lot of people say like, oh, you're being toxic even if you're not talking to the person that you're being toxic towards, quote unquote. I don't subscribe to that, okay? But yeah, obviously there was a lot of mistakes made during this run. The comment at the end is crazy. Like, bro, you're talking about aggro, he's dead, dude. Do you understand? Do you not realize that he's dead? That's a scary thing, dude. Talking about routing as well. Like, okay, yeah, that's the biggest issue in the key, right? Yeah, that's just pugging in a nutshell, man. And as a tank, like, if you were this guy, I feel bad for this guy, dude, because obviously I think he realizes that he doesn't have a two-handed weapon on. For some reason, though, he doesn't realize he can just switch the weapons. I'm like 90% sure you can still do this in Mythic Plus, right? Can't you still switch weapons in Mythic Plus? This is so crazy to me because this actually happened back in BFA, dude. How long ago was that? We have to take a look at that clip right now. Okay, if you've never seen this before, this was like a legendary moment in BFA. It's just a clip right from the stream, okay? This guy is geared to the teeth. I literally say that. He has like a best in slot gear, like max Titan Forge trinket that's like overpowered as shit. The guy's doing terrible damage. You see on the bottom screen, he's losing. This is an alt. This is a low key. A 13 was really low at this point. Like over 5 to 10 item level higher than everybody else, and he's losing on every single pack. So we're commenting on it, okay? Here is the reaction to why he's losing on every single pack. Got 2 455 trinkets. Wait, hold on a second. Why does it only show one weapon? Wait, what? You gotta be fucking kidding me! Ah, he's got one weapon on it. And it's funny because if you watch that full clip, you will see that there's a conversation happening about, you know, you could just go and fix this. We do the entire run. The guy is a Fury Warrior, so it's the other direction. He's supposed to be dual wielding. He only has one weapon on. That causes way more problems than what the Blood DK has done in this run, by the way. You could literally just walk out though, right? Like at the end of the day, you can just walk out, especially when you see the key's not going to be in time. What would you guys do in this react? I guess like unfortunately, a lot of people just don't understand. Like this is very solvable. This is not a choice he made. So if you were this guy, like I said, like I feel bad for him because he's getting some very conflicting feedback and you're like getting killed by these trash mobs and you have this weird suboptimal setup on. It probably starts to be reinforced in your brain that like, oh, this was just the weapon, whatever, the dual wield situation being a problem. It's not me, you know, I don't know. I don't know what you would think because I can't imagine having this ever happen in the first place and not trying to fix it. But yeah, man, you could tell it's the end of the expansion. Let me know what you guys think is going on out there, man. We got another week or so. I'm not going to be around much next week. I got to do another bit of traveling, but hopefully we'll still have some videos. I do want to do another like review of all the disbands like we have done. Season 4 was actually kind of wild, man. There's some great ones to look at. And then the expansion's coming out, man. So if you guys have any other great clips, send them in, but please do make sure you're hitting that record button for next expansion because it is going to be wild, dude. There's going to be some absolute insanity going on, especially in the first few weeks. So let me know what you think about this. Otherwise, thanks for watching. We will see you guys in the next one.